Hello YouTube watchers, today we are making pumpkin sticky buns. Pumpkin sticky buns are like cinnamon rolls, but instead of filling it with just a regular cinnamon sugar filling, I filled it with like a pumpkin pie filling. So to start off, we're gonna add 3 large room temperature eggs to your mixing bowl. And you can attach the mixer attachment or just use a whisk in your hand. You do not need a KitchenAid for this part. And we're going to mix until combined. Then you're gonna add a half of a cup of buttermilk at room temperature. I use the powdered kind and mix it in with water so that I can have shelf-stable buttermilk. It seems to be a lot easier for me. Next, we're adding a 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt, 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast, and then a half of a cup of pumpkin puree. Then we're gonna mix that all up until combined. Make sure you scrape down the sides of the bowl to get all the yeast and the pumpkin off of it. Now I took 4 1/4 cups of, this is bread flour, but you could also use all-purpose flour, you could use pastry flour, whatever you have. And I'm just gonna start by adding 2 cups to the bowl, along with 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and I did let that cool just so it doesn't upset the yeast. Here I'm mixing it with a wooden spoon just until it's combined. You can see everything is mixed in well, and then I am going to add another cup of the flour, but you can add as much as you want. You just want to be careful not to add too much all at once so that the dough doesn't dry out. And then mix it with your dough hook. Here I'm just adding a little bit of flour as I see necessary, and I want to mix it and have it to the consistency where it's not sticking to the sides of the bowl or the bottom of the bowl. So I'm gonna dust my work surface with that same flour, put the dough onto the work surface and knead it for about a minute just to make sure it's a good consistency, not too sticky but still soft. And I'm gonna shape it into a bowl, and then saving you guys some dishes, just spray that last bowl that you were mixing that dough in and put the dough ball into it, spray the top, cover it with plastic wrap, and then let it rise until doubled in size. Mine took about 3 hours, and a good tip for you guys, if you don't have a good place to like let your dough rise, turn on the light to your oven and then just close the door and it'll be a warm, draft-free area. Now here I'm gonna be making the caramel for the bottom of the sticky buns. I'm gonna add 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 3/4 cups of light brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, along with 2 tablespoons of heavy cream and a pinch of salt. Then I'm gonna melt that down, mix it until the sugar is dissolved and the butter is melted. Here I'm spraying the pan just so things don't stick. Pour in that glaze and then let it cool while the dough is rising. You can see my dough has been doubled in size. I'm gonna turn it out onto a lightly dusted work surface and then roll it out. So I'm trying to get it into a rectangle shape, which is why I'm rolling it kind of, up and down and left to right. And then here I'm stretching it so that I can kind of make it more square by pulling on the ends. And I want it to be about 16 by 12, 16 inches long, 12 inches in the width. For the filling, I'm gonna add 3/4 cup light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and a 1/2 cup of pumpkin. And then I'm gonna mix that until combined. So here it kind of stopped recording, but what you're gonna do is spread it out onto that 16 by 12 inch dough rectangle that you made, and then roll it up. Make sure you leave about 1/2 of an inch at the end of the dough, just so you have room in case any of it seeps out. And then here you can see I'm squishing it together just to make it a little more even. And then I'm gonna separate it into 12 equal sections. I am using a serrated knife because if you try to use a non-serrated knife, you'll see that it does not work as well. Trust me, trial and error. Serrated knife is definitely best for this. I'm wiping off my knife in between each cut just so that I don't make a mess of the filling onto the dough. So after I have these cut, I'm gonna lay them all into that pan, cut side down, cover it, and then let it rise for about 30 minutes. And while that's happening, preheat your oven to 350. Remove the plastic wrap after it's done rising, very important, and then put it into the oven to bake for about 30 minutes, depends on the oven, but I would watch it around 25. So once you have this nice golden brown, crunchy looking cinnamon roll, crunchy is not a good word for it, but you know what I mean. Look at that, it's nice, pretty golden brown. Take those out, and while those are resting, you are going to make the topping, which here is 3 tablespoons of butter, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then 3/4 cups of pecans. I did toast them in that pan before because toasted pecans just work best for. So here is very, very dangerous. I would definitely take some time while you do this. You're gonna put a cookie sheet on top and then flip the pan over to turn out the buns onto the cookie sheet. They should come out pretty easily. I did not flip this a great way. Please be careful when doing this. The pan is hot. I do believe in you. Good luck. So here I'm gonna be spooning that pecan topping on. I'm trying to get an even amount onto each bun, as well as that syrup that's left behind. I wanna make sure I get all of that onto the buns and it's equally distributed. All right, and there you have your pumpkin sticky buns. You could also call them pumpkin pecan rolls. We just always called them sticky buns. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoy this recipe. Please leave a comment down below if you guys try it out, if you like it, and I will see you guys next time.